get down. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Get up off of that thing and dance to you feel better. Get up off of that thing and dance to you. Sing it now. Get up off of that thing and dance to you feel better. Get up off of that thing. Try to release that pressure. Get up off of that thing and shake till you feel better. Get up off of that thing and shake till say it now. Get up off of that thing and shake till you feel better. Get up off of that thing and try to release that pressure. Get up. Ha. Good God. So good. Ha. Everybody ready?
Good morning, good morning. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are getting up off of that thing.
Get up off of that thing and shake till you feel better. Get up off of that thing.
It's Monday, and it's cold
Yes,
out
it is.
there.
Hey, what's the thing that he's talking about in the song?
Your rumpus bumpus.
My rumpus bumpus.
Your
Oh my
rumpus
gosh.
bumpus. That thing you're sitting on.
Well, I have an iWatch, and it tells me to get up off of that thing once every hour.
It does.
It beeps at me.
Although it's you're kind of having a hard time getting up off of that thing this morning.
I am. I did a half marathon yesterday in Pasadena, and boy, was it hilly. Boy, was it hilly. My legs are sore today, up and down those hills.
Yeah, you kind of been getting up like an old man this morning.
Right? But I brought my medal with me because it is a gorgeous medal. It's like a teal with a rose on it. So it's like that Rose Bowl rose, you know? But it's in a teal, and it's really, really nice.
In
And
a
then-
teal?
Teal, that's the color, right? Like that dark
Oh.
green, that kind of...
Greeny
yeah,
blue?
Yeah, greeny blue.
Okay.
And then on the other side, it says the Pasadena Half Marathon. But it's just a really, really nice-looking medal. And it was a fun race. I had a good time. The finish line was inside the Rose Bowl.
Oh, so you like run in and you're
Yes.
got your arms up and you
Yes.
imagine thousands of people cheering you on.
Exactly, and it's you running through the tunnel like the football players do, and then you run out onto the field. That's a spectacular feeling. That was really cool. Yeah.
And so it's put on by the same people as the LA Marathon, right?
Yeah, the same group that does the LA Marathon does Pasadena Half, and they did an amazing job. It was funny as I was running back on the second half of the route, they have a cutoff time. And so the people that were at the cutoff time, they had like a little bus there to pick them up if they weren't going fast enough. And right behind the little bus that was picking them up were all the cleanup crews. And so they were picking up everything, picking up the porta potties, picking up the trash, picking up everything. And this was when this thing was done, it was done. I mean, they had it all organized, and every water stop was great with water and Gatorade. I would do this run again in a heartbeat. It was so well run.
So it makes you want to find like all the group that does the LA Marathon, find out all of the races that they do, if they do any others, and run
Exactly.
those.
Exactly.
Because as a member of a service organization that has not done a racing event as well as we would like to,
Yeah.
people it's hard when people leave upset, and it's that there are certain things that are important to a runner. Your distance has to be what your distance says
Yes,
it's
it
going to
does.
be. You have to have a cool T-shirt. You have to have a cool medal. If you promise a giveaway, you got to have it there on that day.
Yeah.
Including the T-shirt and the medal.
Yeah.
There has to be plenty of water stops. And they like some fun when they get done.
Exactly. Well, and this race had lots of music on it as well. They had DJs and bands throughout the route. I mean, they really did a good job of organizing. And it was a gorgeous route. I mean, the city of Pasadena is beautiful. And, besides the pain and agony of running up and down the hills, it was shaded and really pretty scenery and just nicely laid out. It was a good route.
And how did your students do?
Well, we've got 8 kids on the team. We've got 4 that are on what I call the faster side, and 4 that are on the slower side, and they all did well.
Did anybody have to be picked up?
No. They're all well trained, and at this point, they're chugging along. And I'm kind of in the middle of the pack with my students, so I have usually 4 that finish before me and 4 that finish after me. And the kids did good, and I think they had a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
They did not want to leave the stadium, though. We were waiting around and waiting around. We were all outside because that's where we thought we were going to meet. And I actually had to go back inside the stadium and grab them.
But they're like, Mr. Brinker.
And they were all in there taking selfies and pictures inside the stadium.
Because it's cool.
Right?
Because it's cool. Now, are you going to walk around with your medal like
Yes.
it's your backstage pass all day long?
It's my all-day pass for everything I do. That's why I run, so I can flash the medal at people to get into things.
People look at you like, yeah, we don't care, dude.
But they do care. People are like, oh, that's so awesome. Come right in. Whatever you want, sir. It's amazing. It's amazing how that works. No, we have a tradition at our school, because this is a school running team, that the kids wear the medal the next day. And so all the kids will be wearing their shirts and their medals today, showing them off. And that's partly how we recruit, too, because other kids will see that, and then they'll want to come run with us next year. So it's a wonderful, wonderful program.
So, speaking of sports, we have to talk about the football games yesterday.
Right. So some really good games. I was a little disappointed because I had picked the Falcons to win.
Falcons?
Falcons, what did I say? Oh, I'm sorry.
The Vikings.
The Vikings. Why am I saying Falcons? The Vikings to win. And they just got hammered yesterday. It wasn't even close. But having said that, I've always kind of liked the Eagles too. And the reason I didn't pick the Eagles is because I just didn't think that Nick Foles was going to be able to pull that team back up to the level they needed to be in order to win this thing. And he played spectacular, and they won. But the other game too was also very interesting.
Not surprisingly, the Patriots won.
The Patriots won, but they were down. The score was 20-10 for the Jaguars going into the fourth quarter, and of course Tom Brady led them to 2 touchdowns at the end of the game to pull out the victory. And the Jaguars had a chance to come back, but they just couldn't quite do it. Their quarterback was a kid named Blake Bortles, who was not known as being one of the great quarterbacks, and he just couldn't lead them back down the field to get what they needed to do. But it's going to be an interesting Super Bowl.
That's February 4th, right?
February 4th, and I'm looking forward to it. Now I'm an Eagles fan. I'm an Eagles guy now.
Well, you've been an Eagles guy for years, Tobin. I was so surprised when you said that you had, in your fantasy football or whatever it is, your pool, whatever, that you had bet against the Eagles, because you've always been an Eagles fan.
Okay, so when we first got married, when we were dating, I was an Eagles fan and followed them. I used to love Warren Moon, and but that was really more about the quarterback. And I've done this a few times in my life where I like a particular player and I'll just follow the team for a while. I was a big Peyton Manning fan, and so when he was with the Broncos, I had Broncos jerseys and people thought I was a Broncos fan, but I really was a Peyton Manning fan.
Yeah, we liked him when he was at the Colts too.
Yeah. But the team, if you had to say there's a team that I follow, it's the Rams. That's my team, regardless of who's playing. I like the Rams, but they got bumped out in the first round this year. So,
yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Football was exciting. These are good games. I did hear a couple interesting stories though, and I think you actually found one on here about the Crisco cops.
Oh gosh, yeah, we have to talk about this. Go for it, Tobin.
Okay, so apparently ahead of the game yesterday, the Philadelphia city workers came up with an interesting idea. So I'll just read it to you. Football fans who react to big playoff games by climbing light poles should probably stay away from Philadelphia today. That's because a crew of city workers calling themselves the Crisco Cops spent the morning slathering poles throughout the city in grease to prevent fans from climbing them after this afternoon's
So
NFC
imagine
Championship.
you go to grab a hold of a light pole, and not only do you slide down immediately, but then you're covered in Crisco.
I know, right? It's funny.
And it's cold. So what happens to Crisco when it gets really cold? I don't know.
I don't know. And I don't know if you saw some of the videos after the game, but as cold as it is there, the streets just filled up with people. Philadelphia, everyone was out on the streets celebrating.
Well, when was the last time the Philadelphia went to the Super Bowl?
I'm not sure. Massive, massive games. Oh, it says they haven't been in the Super Bowl since 2004.
So they're ready to go back.
It was a big party there, and I suspect there was probably a lot of folks trying to climb poles. Unsuccessfully.
Okay, so, necessity is the mother of invention.
Right?
I think that's absolutely hysterical. So with that, it's time for a break. I'm Marion Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
The Osgood File. This is Charles Osgood from the Dell Small Business Studios. As the push for self-driving cars becomes more popular, the U.S. military has taken the idea to new heights by experimenting with an autonomous helicopter. David Martin of CBS News tells us more.
The Huey helicopter has been around since Vietnam, but this one could be the start of a revolution. It's flying itself.
The pilot in the cockpit is just a safety observer. He's keeping his hands close to, but not on, the controls. And the person telling the helicopter what to do is Marine Sergeant Deontay Jones.
The helo comes in, it's requesting permission to land. I will give it permission to land. When it's ready to leave, or when I unload all the stuff that I need, it'll ask me permission to leave. I'll give permission to leave. And it's really just that simple.
Sergeant Jones is not flying the helo. He has no joystick to pilot it by remote control, just a tablet to issue basic instructions, no prior experience required.
15 minutes of training with the tablet. Anybody can pick it up. It's real easy.
The Office of Naval Research, which developed the technology, says it's placing a large bet that autonomous aircraft can take the place of humans.
It took 5 years and $98 million to develop the flight computer that turns the helicopter into a self-flying aircraft. And there is a pod on the helicopter's nose that is constantly scanning for obstacles, warning the computer about hazards that are hard to see, such as power lines. David Martin, what's next?
The initial concept is to use self-flying helos to deliver supplies to Marines in the field, freeing up pilots for other missions. This Vietnam-era Huey will fly into the future when it starts training with Marines in California this spring.
The Osgood File. This is Charles Osgood.
What if I told you you'd never have to make a house payment again? What if you could pay off much-needed home repairs and even create an income stream based on the value of your home? If you're 62 years old or older, you could be eligible for a reverse mortgage. Call Tim Harrison and find out if a reverse mortgage is right for you. Call Tim at 800-566-2475. That's 800-566-2475. Tim Harrison, branch manager, NMLS number 170960. Broadview Mortgage Corporation is licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 170952. Registered with the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and registry number 813B544. Broadview Mortgage, equal housing lender. Remember, if you never want to make a house payment again, except for property taxes, maintenance, and insurance, that's 800-566-2475. That's 800-566-2475.
Sports Circus with Sal Tizolino.
Introducing former Major League Baseball player Brett Boone.
Well, I'm sorry, I've been getting some texts, and I've got some inside information, and I can't really tell you right now.
You never know what's going to happen in the sports circus.
I'll share with you that I just got some insider information, so I can't share it yet.
It's official, ladies and gentlemen. There is a new New York Yankees manager, and you heard it right here first in the nation.
Just like a circus.
He's the ringmaster. Sports Circus with Sal Tizolino.
All right, Aaron got the job.
Hey, brother. Sports Circus, Monday through Friday, right here on KCAA 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Riding along in my automobile, my baby beside me at the wheel. I stole a kiss at the turn of a mile, my curiosity running wild, cruising and playing the radio with no particular place to go. Riding along in my
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So glad to have you with us this morning. Want to remind everybody all the ways they can follow this show and follow Tobin and follow me. I am Erin Hunt Brinker on Facebook. He is Tobin Brinker on Facebook. I am at Erin Songbird on Twitter and Erin Brinker on Instagram. We are kind of bad about updating our show's page, which is facebook.com/KCAA Morning Show, but we are going to get better. I'm committing to that. The station's page is facebook.com/KCAA Radio. So, Tobin, you pick the next one.
Well, the government has been shut down, Aaron. And
yeah, I heard a rumor.
I have yet to feel the pain and the suffering that they've guaranteed, but I'm certain later tonight we'll see on the news pictures of crying children outside of national monuments or some such thing.
Okay, so here's the thing about the national monuments. That was all theater. And I say this because you have a tomb or a monument or a something that nobody monitors. Mind you, nobody monitors it. So it's not like it's anybody's job to stand out there. And during the last shutdown in 2013, the Obama administration wanted the public to feel the pain. And so he put ropes around and closed these open-air national monuments.
Yes.
It made no sense, except he was trying to make a political point.
Yeah. No, it's true. But there actually are people that are there that do kind of monitor some of it, but that's because they have like a gift shop down below. And
right. They're selling stuff.
And they have, but you're right. They could have just not had the bathrooms open and whatever, the things that get opened and, the people who go around picking up the trash, and they could have just... They didn't need to rope it off.
Right.
You're right. But I suspect we'll see something. Somebody somewhere is going to find something to show us, right? Because they got to have a visual, right, that to make it real. But Rand Paul, right, libertarian Rand Paul, says he's got a way to solve all this, Aaron.
Oh, yeah?
He's going to solve the problem. So the government may be stuck in a shutdown with politicians on both sides of the aisle blaming their colleagues, but at least one Republican senator thinks he has a way to end the stalemate. On Sunday, Rand Paul told CNN's State of the Union that he had presented a compromise plan to his Republican colleagues in the Senate to reopen the government. I gave them the answer how you solve this today, he said. Promise, guarantee in writing to the Democrats that there will be 1 week's debate on immigration and a vote on an immigration bill sometime in the next month in the House and the Senate, he said, referring to Democratic demands for some kind of resolution to the issue of young immigrants known as Dreamers. So far, however, Paul said his proposal hasn't been accepted. Now, when I presented this to those in the Senate, they were like, oh no, we want guaranteed passage on a must-pass bill. Nobody gets guaranteed passage. Paul also said that he would vote to build some sort of wall, but that the current $20 billion price tag for President Trump's proposed wall is outrageous. Those comments come as some Democrats have appeared to soften on the issue of building a border wall. Right after the government shutdown, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said that he had offered to put the wall on the table in negotiations with President Trump. But White House Budget Chief Mick Mulvaney slammed Schumer's offer, saying that it would only include $1.6 billion in an annual appropriations bill.
So here's the thing. This would solve the issue if there was the political will to solve it. I don't believe there's a political will to solve it. Everybody wants to use this as a wedge issue.
They do, and I don't think it would solve it because, frankly, the votes aren't there. In a month or a week of debate and vote, they're not going to find something where they can cobble together a majority that agrees on the specific details. There's enough divergent thoughts on what should happen and how it should happen. I don't believe that they can grease the wheels. They don't have the mechanisms to do that in the system anymore, to give somebody some pork here or there to convince them that this is something they should vote for. And for most of these people, this is one of those touchstone issues. They can't and won't compromise.
Yeah, but they recognize that this is 2018.
Yeah.
And there's an election this year.
I agree, but I'm not optimistic that they're going to find some compromise on this. I'm really not. I look at the players, and I just kind of find myself saying, how and where do they compromise? And I don't see the votes there, because to get the votes from one group, I alienate another one. There's just and none of them are willing to actually bend. And
nobody is willing to detach immigration reform from a spending bill.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really because you're tagging immigration. The government is being held up because of an immigration bill.
Yes.
And if as a taxpayer and as a voter, separate the two and vote on one and then vote on the other.
Yeah.
That to me makes the most sense. Why are you holding things up for something that's completely non-related or unrelated?
So watch what I think you might see happening is you'll see little piecemeal bills coming up. So someone will say, oh my God, we can't, the CHIP program, the child health care thing, they'll say we have to do, and so they'll take out that piece and they'll vote to fund it. Someone else will say, we've got to get the military funding back in there. They'll take out that piece. And before you know it, it'll just be a couple little random things that are still left that never got voted on. And they'll say, oh, forget it.
Maybe.
And life goes on.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not optimistic that this thing's going to be so easily resolved. You know?
It's frustrating. I mean, it's first of all, it's not cataclysmic that it's down for a couple of days.
Yeah.
You know, especially since it was the weekend. You know, that's not cataclysmic. But if it drags on for a period of time, you know, people will start to notice. There's a lot of people who are military families who are, you know, a lot of military families in the United States. If they're not getting paychecks, we got a problem, folks.
I think that one's going to be a real big one. Now, another headline that you found, and the headline itself made me chuckle because it said moderates cooking up deal to end shutdown. And I thought, moderates? Where are there moderates in our government?
I know, right?
Right? It's such a small, dwindling group. It seems like both sides, Democrats and Republicans, have been so radicalized that there's no such thing as actual moderates anymore that would actually be willing to negotiate and compromise. Anyway, I'm just not sure where they're going to find the votes. But it says a group of moderate-leaning senators say they're making progress towards a deal to end the government shutdown before it stretches through Monday. So that's today. The group of nearly 20 centrists, they found 20 centrists, Aaron?
I know, right?
Including senators from both parties who have brought their plan to Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer. Under the deal, the Senate would vote on a measure to fund the government through February 8th, and McConnell would agree to hold a vote on immigration, the key sticking point in the impasse, before then. The odds of success were hard to gauge Sunday evening, reports the Washington Post. Asked whether he thought the shutdown would continue through Monday, McConnell's deputy, John Cornyn, answered, "Right now, yeah, I do." But one of the senators in the compromise group, Lindsey Graham, said a breakthrough seemed possible Sunday night, and he added that striking any deal would only get more difficult on Monday. "We recognize that ultimately it's the decision of Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer," said GOP Senator Susan Collins. "We're trying to be helpful in showing them that there is a path forward." McConnell and Schumer have each blamed the opposing party for the shutdown. Also playing the blame game Sunday was the White House, where the public comment line has been changed to say, "Thank you for calling the White House. Unfortunately, we cannot answer your call today because congressional Democrats are holding government funding hostage."
Well, I think that the capacity for it's getting to the point where the voter, i.e. mom and dad, are saying, "Okay, you two, we're going to lock you in a room until you figure this out."
Right.
I no longer care who's at fault. Fix it.
So in my mind, when I think about a long-running shutdown, unfortunately, my mind goes to Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. And so now I'm wondering about what kind of craziness is going to be going on in the government as people, you know, the regular people have been sent home, and no one's there to make sure the work's getting done. And, you know, these crazy predator men that work in our government going after the young interns.
Maybe. So CNN is reporting that the Senate is going to vote at noon today, that's noon Eastern time, on whether to end the government shutdown. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I wonder what the Vegas line is on that vote.
I know, right?
People are betting on whether the government's going to reopen or not.
Well, they were scheduled to vote at 1 a.m., and that didn't happen. So it's been moved till noon today. So with that, let's take a break. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we're on the brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio, I'm Tom Roberts. The White House is bracing for a possible government shutdown. The government runs out of money at midnight, and a short-term spending extension is stalled in the Senate. White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney.
It still surprises me, and I've been through some of these before, that the Democrats in the
It's time for your KCAA AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3 traffic report. I'm Aaron Brinker. In Corona on the 91 westbound at the 15, an accident has the left lane blocked. There's some stop-and-go traffic from McKinley. Traffic remains heavy all the way to Green River Road. The 71 south is heavy from Euclid to the 91. In Corona, again, actually all three of these items are in Corona on the 91 westbound at 6th Street. A stalled big rig has been towed from the right lane. And then in Corona, again on the 15 northbound at the 91, there's a crash on the right shoulder of the connector to the 91 west, from the 15 to the 91. This has been your traffic on KCAA. We are the stations that leave no listener behind. I'm Aaron Brinker.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carter. A key Senate vote is set for high noon with the goal of reopening the government. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
Let's step back from the brink. Let's stop victimizing the American people.
Republicans are behind a proposed funding extension to February 8th with a commitment to take up so-called Dreamers separately and soon. Democrats want long-term protection for young immigrants brought here illegally as children. Part of the challenge, no one's quite sure what the president will sign. Vice President Mike Pence vowing today that the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem will open in 2019. During a speech before Israeli lawmakers, Pence said, in the weeks ahead, our administration will advance its plan to open the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem, and the U.S. Embassy will open before the end of next year. As the vice president started his speech, Arab lawmakers began loudly protesting and were promptly removed. Pence called on Israel and the Palestinians to resume peace negotiations. Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Rod Tanner. For this morning, we can expect a mostly sunny Monday with a high of 69. It'll be clear tonight with a low of 42. Tuesday should be sunny, our high 75. Tuesday night, it'll be clear with a low of 47. We'll have sunny skies on Wednesday with a high of 77. Wednesday night, there's a good chance for showers. It'll depart cloudy, a low of 46. There's a chance of rain Thursday. It'll depart sunny with a high of 62. I'm Rod Tanner, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center with the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California. KCAA, 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and the Legacy, 1050 AM Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Hi, everybody. Ray Lucia here with some important information about debt, your debt. Whether you have a first or second mortgage, you're looking to buy or refi a home or rental property, or just need to consolidate your credit cards to lower your payments and save some serious interest, you need to do some loan financial planning with Steve Aladort, my mortgage man, at loanfinancialplanner.com. Now, Steve's not your garden variety mortgage broker. He actually spends time evaluating how you can use the current super competitive interest rates to pay off your mortgage early. Purchase a rental property, improve your cash flow, upgrade to your dream home, or even help your kids or grandkids get into a house. That's what loan financial planning is all about. Steve's been helping me and my listeners for over 2 decades, and I can tell you he is the best finance guy in the business. Go to loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Or call Steve Aladort at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
Welcome back. I'm Marion Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. So glad to have you with us this morning. So Riverside residents have probably noticed that there's a lot of hubbub going on at March Air Reserve Base.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot more planes flying in and out.
So, and it when March was a full Air Force base, that activity was ongoing, right? There was always something going on. But it's an Air Reserve base now, and so it's quieter. I mean, there's still if you go to any restaurants around there, you're still going to bump into airmen. There's still, not physically bump in. You'll see them. There's still activity going on at the base, planes flying in and out, but it's been bumped up lately. And apparently, the officials from the Riverside area base say it's nothing to be alarmed about. According to a base news release posted on its Facebook account, the activity is coming from a visiting fighter wing from South Dakota. Gets its weather's a little nicer here this time of year. The group is using March Air Reserve Base for daytime and nighttime flying, according to this release. And the base said that the weather in Southern California allows for better training conditions than in South Dakota, which is expected to get snow this weekend. He added training is only temporary, and the group is expected to be finished by the end of the week.
When you see a base like that with the kind of activity with fighter wings and stuff, it's really quite impressive.
It is.
And we've driven past like Miramar and stuff when they've had their the jets flying in and out, and it's just it's a little bit intimidating, right, when you see so many of these fighter aircraft flying in and out. But the other big thing sometimes, and I used to watch this at March when we were going to the Gulf War, they were loading up all the big planes there and sending all the supplies, and it was, massive. I mean, it was just massive, the movement of goods and materials that were flying in and out of there. When you see a base like that that's really bustling, it's something to see.
It is something to see. And, of course, you're an Air Force brat.
I am. And so I have a little piece of my heart with the Air Force.
Absolutely. So, go enjoy the training that's going on there. You can park on a road where you won't block anyone and kind of watch what's going on. I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Certainly for your kids, it's fun.
Now, another story that's we've been talking about that's from out that way, out by the Air Force Base out in Paris, is the House of Horrors, Aaron, where they had the torture case with the parents and the 13 kids.
Yeah.
And the Press Enterprise ran a story today about what happens to the house. Right.
Well, and that's, I think, first of all, some people will go buy the house just because they want to see it.
Yeah.
And that's disruptive to all the neighbors. I mean, it's a 2,300 square foot house, something like, right in that ballpark, in an utterly unremarkable middle class neighborhood.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice, manicured lawns, all of those things. It looks like it'd be a nice place to live. But it's really no different than the neighborhoods that dot the Inland Empire in Southern California as a whole.
But there are people out there who trade in the macabre, in the these kinds of dark things, and I suspect that there are people who will break into the house to steal stuff. Grab a bit of curtain, grab a piece of carpet, whatever they can get,
Yeah.
so they can sell it on some auction site or
That's true.
or whatever, or just to get pictures. I think about what happened after that couple did their terrorist shooting here in San Bernardino, right? And how the people broke into the houses there and were, taking pictures and taking stuff. And this house is going to be a draw to a really sort of negative influence. And so what happens to the house, And so the article kind of begins to look into that. And the experts believe that it'll probably end up being sold at auction, right? That's probably what's going to happen. The couple is now in custody on $12 million bail each. They pled not guilty last Thursday to the charges of torture, false imprisonment, and neglect.
And they're not getting out.
No, they're not getting out. And they have a mortgage of $344,000, right?
$344,000?
Yes. And the home last sold on August 28th of 2014 to them, and Zillow reports it was that the actual price that they bought it for was $351,000. Now Zillow is saying the house has gone up; it's worth $361,000. But they have an expert who looks at houses that are like this, that have sort of dark histories.
Would you live in that house?
No.
And I'm
No.
wondering because I think it was Jeffrey Dahmer's house that they tore the house down.
Well, and the same thing with that one, I think it was in Cincinnati, where the guy held the 3 women.
Yes.
Same thing, tore it down,
And I honestly, you could certainly get a builder to build another house that looks
Yeah.
just like the others if that was a requirement.
This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,388 square foot home, right? And apparently the house was built later than some of the other houses that are there. That it was never it was in the newer part of a larger housing development, but it was built later.
But it looks like the same builder. I mean, it
Yeah.
looks like the houses next to it.
Anyway, they think that it's probably going to sell at auction, and that the bank may end up taking less for it just because, right?
Because they want to unload it.
Just to unload it because they're not sure. I mean, because these things go one of two ways. Either you get people who, like I said, have this macabre thing and want to have this thing, but it is not really fit to turn into like a museum piece,
Well, no, and I'm sure the neighbors wouldn't appreciate that.
No. And I wouldn't appreciate it. I would actually be deeply offended by somebody who did that, Yeah, so it's going to be weird. And then the other discussion that's going on is if you do sell it and you get money that covers the loans or whatever that goes over that, and if there's any extra money, who gets it? Does it go to the parents in their legal defense? Does it go to the kids to help them with their lives as they move forward? What's the law say on that? And that's going to be an interesting...
well, if it's sold at auction, the parents don't get a dime.
Yeah.
If it's... Because if they... it's not like they're going to short sell it. It's going to be repossessed and or foreclosed upon, and and they're going to have to sell it at auction, and the bank owns it at this point. All of the contents, like all of the furniture. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I wonder how, if the children have something, and maybe it's already been taken to them, but the children have things in the home that they want to keep. Is there a teddy bear? Is there, I know that the cops seized all of their journals, and so the kids were actually required to keep journals, and those journals have been pretty valuable to the police.
Yeah.
And so I imagine the kids are going to want those back because they're deeply personal.
Yeah.
Whether they ever open them again, I don't know. But I can't imagine what those kids are going through.
I can't either. And I know there's people raising money through a variety of sources for the kids. They're looking at a long, difficult life. But if there was any extra money from the sale of the house or the sale of the contents of the house or whatever, I would hope that it would go to the kids to help them get started in life,
Well, I wonder, we talked about this before, the ones, a good chunk of those children, quote unquote, are adults.
Yeah.
And, who haven't been to school, who haven't been in the workforce, who haven't lived outside of that house.
Yeah, and what's weird to me is that our systems of social support aren't really designed for this kind of a case. For the little kids, obviously they have foster families and, a variety of services for them. But typically once you hit 18, our programs don't really deal with that. And so it's going to be fascinating to me to see how they're really able to help these people, I wonder if some other social services or church group will step in and say, hey, we'll provide, we'll take care.
Or family members.
Family members too. But I'll be honest, I'm a little skeptical of the whole family member thing because some of the stories, like apparently several of the aunts had stayed at this home over the years,
Oh my God!
And had some awareness of some of the stuff that was going on, and of course the aunts are now saying, well, they tried to alert or they tried to do, but I'm thinking to myself, no, if you tried, you would have, somebody would have been there sooner. So I don't know. I mean, I'm concerned that this is broader, that it's not just this couple.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. It leaves you speechless.
It does.
Most people do everything to give their kids a better life than they had themselves, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I say most people. People that we know, people that we see out in the world. You want to give your kids everything that you can. Not material things, but what they need to be productive people.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine treating your child like this.
No, and the way that they starved them. I mean, just that's
insane.
Right?
Insane. So, enough of that dark subject. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll do something a little happier when we get back. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
Tobin Brinker. And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
This is Gary Garver. If you're a coffee drinker like I am and enjoy special brews that have a unique taste, I have the perfect premium selection for you, Volcanic Red Coffee. Volcanic Red Coffee receives its great green coffee beans from all over the world. Volcanic Red drum roasts their beans by hand for the optimal roast experience. They then put their whole or grinded coffee beans in pods and packages and ship them out to you the same day you place your order. Volcanic Red Coffee takes great pride in making sure your coffee is as fresh as if you picked the coffee beans yourself. Right now, Volcanic Red Coffee is offering a 50% discount on all coffee products. Go to www.volcanicredcoffee.com. That's www.volcanicredcoffee.com and type in the promo code GARY50 to receive a 50% discount. That's promo code GARY50. That's a 50% discount off of 2 or more bags or pods. Volcanic Red Coffee for all your premium coffee needs.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 55 years. Carpet Masters uses extraction cleaning for your carpet because there's no better cleaning to remove the soil from your carpet. All of our furniture cleaning is done by hand in your home or in our plant. Carpet Masters also offers dry cleaning for fine furniture. Call Carpet Masters at 793-7215. That's 793-7215 for Carpet Masters.
This is Gary Garver. Are you having trouble getting a good night's sleep? Is it affecting your work and personal life? Well, South Pacific Sleep Lab can help you out. South Pacific Sleep Lab provides a personal sleep study to help you find out how to get a great night of sound sleep. I've been having sleeping issues during the night lately. South Pacific Sleep Lab evaluated me with an overnight study of my sleep pattern. With their professional staff, they were able to provide me with a diagnosis of my sleep pattern, and ever since, I've had no problems getting a great night of sleep. South Pacific Sleep Lab has locations throughout Southern California, and they will also provide transportation to any of their locations at no cost to you. South Pacific Sleep Lab can help you out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just give them a call at 310-999-1887 to schedule your appointment today. That's 310-999-1887. South Pacific Sleep Lab. Start resting easy and sleeping sound today.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is home to some of the best bargain shopping in the region. Citywear, Style for Less, and Dollar Tree, to name just a few. Friendly shop owners and staff are waiting for you to stop in for the many specials and bargains they're excited to share. The Tri-City Shopping Center is located just off I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Make it your home for all your shopping needs, and you'll know why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart.
Kcaa.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go back, let's go way on, way back when. I didn't even know you couldn't have been too much more than 10. I ain't no psychiatrist, I ain't no doctor with degrees, but it don't take too much time to see what you're doing to me. You better think about what you're trying to do to me, yeah. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So Amazon's Go opens today.
Amazon Go.
Amazon Go.
What is Amazon Go, Erin?
It is a grocery store with no cashiers. And they're piloting a store in Seattle.
Really?
Yeah. And people are kind of, freaking out about it because this is automation replacing human workers once more.
So, because it's Amazon, they deliver the groceries to you?
No,
or?
you go shopping.
Oh, you do? Okay.
But it reads what you have in your cart, and you have to have the Amazon app, and then it'll just take it out of your bank account.
Interesting.
So Amazon will open its high-tech grocery store to the public this week after a year of beta testing the no-checkout technology on employees. Amazon Go allows shoppers to simply take what they want to purchase and leave, eliminating the need for lines or cashiers. The concept store is slated to open today in the company's Seattle campus after the original launch plan for early 2017 was postponed due to problems with the technology.
So it sounds like fascinating technology. I'm thinking they've got to have some sort of location tag. So when you move it and you cross over to go out the door, now they recognize, okay, it's no longer in the store, and therefore it has to be charged to you. And
Yes.
your phone has your app on it so that the two things are co-located. And so they say, okay, so we charge it to you versus the guy who's standing next to you. Wouldn't that be fun?
You get charged with somebody else's groceries.
You load it up, but you make sure you walk out with some other guy. Like he's got the app, and you walk out right side by side with him. Ha-ha, he got charged.
And he has ramen and a little bit of vegetables, and you have steak and, all kinds of stuff.
And all of a sudden, he's like, oh, my God, I just got charged for steak. I don't even eat steak.
I'm a vegan.
I'm fascinated by this. I want to know more. How do they do this, Erin? It's like magic.
Well, according to the store's website, the shopping experience at Amazon Go begins with an app customers scan on their phones to enter the store. So, you just go through the thing and you have it scan like you would at Starbucks. Just have it scan your app, and then once then you would shop like at any other store. Once you're done shopping, you're on your way. No lines, no checkouts. I mean, I suppose you have to. I don't know if they give you bags at the front of the store. Then you just load up your bags and you're ready to go, or you bring your own bags.
Yeah.
So Rachel Metz of MIT Technology Review writes that Amazon Go might take some getting used to for customers. The 1,800 square foot store uses computer vision, sensor fusion, and deep learning that Amazon says is akin to tech found in new driverless cars. It all makes for very hands-off experience on the part of the store employees. It feels a little weird. I'm sure it does, if unnerving, with so little human interaction. In addition to questions about user experience, some have wondered about what sort of impact Amazon Go might have on the workforce. CNBC notes that some 90,000 cashier jobs in the U.S. are in grocery stores, all jobs that could become unnecessary should Amazon's concept catch on. For now, Amazon said it has no plans to implement the technology in its recently acquired Whole Food stores. I mean, essentially with just one store, it's still very much in a pilot phase.
Yeah, and it's interesting because as I think about it, on the one hand, the idea of not having to wait in the long lines and just being able to sort of walk out is kind of appealing. But on the other hand, the experience at the cash register, there's a bit of a social interaction there. And
yeah.
I'm a social person, and I have like my favorite cashiers at our local Stater Brothers, and if I see them working, I'll kind of get in their line, and you have that short little chit-chat with them. And I feel like our society is getting less and less personal, right? Like there's so little positive human interaction. So part of me would be like, I don't want to give that up. You know what I mean?
And have you ever been behind an older person in line at a supermarket?
Yeah.
And that older person, takes a little bit longer to chit chat and get their money taken care of and all of that. And honestly, for them, that's quells loneliness.
Yeah.
To have a person there. And so I'm not saying that we should. Technology is going to do what technology is going to do,
yeah.
And the market's going to do what the market's going to do. But we need to be cognizant of the diminishing opportunities for human interaction and what that does to longevity. I mean, loneliness is as bad for humanity as smoking is.
Yeah.
So how do we connect with one another? And I know I have my favorite method that we don't actually are not part of one of these communities, but there's this movement called the co-housing movement. I've talked about it on the air before. And what it does is it creates these really interconnected villages of people who have chosen to be interconnected with one another. So the way that villages used to be. So they could be done condos or houses, generally like 18 to 20 houses, I think is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And then there are common areas like a big common meeting room, and twice a week or so they have a common meal, and that's everybody. There are gardens and common grounds, and it's people have it's not a commune. People have their own space, but it's people who have chosen to live communally in that they connect with one another. They get to know their neighbors. What we used to do quite naturally, we don't do anymore.
Yeah. No, and we need that. We need more human interaction, and it needs to be positive. I mean, I've lamented the fact for some time that, people don't know their neighbors very well or talk to their neighbors. And so over the last 10 years or so, I've made a variety of different concerted efforts to sort of connect us with our neighbors, from starting a neighborhood watch to hosting a neighborhood picnic. We used to put on a neighborhood Halloween party. These are important things because people just sort of hide out in their homes. And you see all these folks walking down the street with their cell phones. Nobody's interacting. You go out for a meal, and you're literally sitting across the table from someone, and they send a text to you instead of just saying something to you. It's like, really?
I'm right here.
I'm right here. And I don't know. I feel like we're disconnecting in ways that are not healthy, and we've got to find ways to reconnect.
Well, and here's the thing. Think about all of the people, especially, Gen X and millennials, who have chosen not to have any children.
Yep.
And so as they age, it used to be that a whole family structure would come together. So
Yep.
by the time you're, nearing retirement or that age group, you have children and grandchildren and, extended family that is somewhere near you, or at least pick up the phone and talk to you. Well, that's disappearing. With so many families not having children, that whole network doesn't exist. It was never created. And so, older people, we're going to need to, as a culture, pay much more attention to the aging population than we have in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
No, you're right.
Because otherwise they will die early. They will be miserable. And you will see addiction rise, and we've been seeing that. You will see, other issues happening because people are lonely.
I don't want to be lonely.
I don't want to be lonely. So, got to be nice to each other. Got to love each other.
I need someone to talk to, Aaron. Maybe on the radio. Every day.
You talk to middle school students every day.
Yeah, I talk at them. You can't really talk to them because they talk back, Aaron.
They do.
Which is really the fun part of the job.
I know, right? Okay, so this is not the right kind of, speaking of the job, this is not the right way to do the job. An employee at Fannie Mae, Soleil Bonin, she was hired for an IT job despite not having any IT experience. And it turns out she was actually hired to be a plaything by one of senior management. And she's now suing for $20 million.
Wow. Yeah, apparently he met her at a strip club, Aaron.
Yeah, she was a stripper.
Yeah. IT department manager Joseph King was, just hanging out at a D.C. strip club where he met this wonderful woman. And he decided, hey, you deserve a job for Fannie Mae working in our IT department. But it became very clear to her that he just wanted to take her away on trips and have sex with her and whatever. Now, she was getting a $90,000 a year salary, and he kept pressuring her and giving her drinks and all this kind of stuff to try to get with her. And she never got a chance to do IT like her heart's desire was. And so she's now suing. Now he ended up losing his job, though, finally. Apparently she says the whole culture at Fannie Mae was that the women would be mistreated and used in this way. And she finally got a protective order in the court against this guy, and then Fannie Mae fired him.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. Now, if it sounds like he just needed to be honest with her, that he was looking for a sugar baby.
Yeah.
There are women out there who want to be sugar babies, by the way.
Yeah.
And although he shouldn't have had her working at Fannie Mae, but God, this is disgusting. I don't know what else to say. The fact that she was a stripper doesn't mean she was a prostitute.
No, I know.
And it's been a corrupt culture for decades. I think it's time to clean house.
I agree.
So with that, we're at the end of our show for today. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. Have a great day, everyone.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Just
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm Chuck Kamlick, CNBC. Day 3 of the government shutdown. Senators are holding a bipartisan meeting right now, looking for some kind of a deal. Stocks will open lower this morning anyway. Amazon's Go store, the one without cashiers, officially opens today in Seattle, where it was tested. You take what you want from the store, Amazon bills you at home. Walmart's in talks to sell its business in Brazil, where it's lost money for 7 years in a row. Gasoline prices here up 4 cents in the past 2 weeks. The Lundberg survey puts the average at $2.58 a gallon, about 22 cents more than a year ago. We know now it's the Patriots and the Eagles in Super Bowl 52 after Philly won its game yesterday. Ticket IQ says the average asking price jumped to $9,000, almost 50% higher than last year's, which was a record of $5,000. And if a touchdown is scored in the first 14 seconds of that game, Pizza Hut says it will be giving away free pizzas. Chuck Kamlick, CNBC.
I don't mean to brag, kid, but I'm a pretty healthy guy. Running a growing business means I'm always running. Not many can keep up with me. But you know who can? Grainger. When it comes to getting me the answers I need right when I need them, Grainger moves just as fast as I do. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're a good running partner because no matter what problem I have or question, Grainger's got my back. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Breaking news.
David Koresh.
The ATF full-blown war.
Tomorrow, Paramount Network brings you the inside story of the shocking siege in Waco, Texas with a 6-part television event.
Please stop! There are women and children in here!
Starring Michael Shannon, John Leguizamo, and Taylor Kitsch as David Koresh.
To play this guy who's the most complex guy I've ever played in my life, it's incredible.
You came here to be tested, and this is a test.
Waco, a 6-part television event, premieres tomorrow at 10 on Paramount Network.
And now, the Inland News Update with Blake.